That's nice and loud. Good morning, everyone. Very welcome. Nice to see you all. I'm Caitlin. I'm the head of trends at Egg Soldiers Consultancy Group, and we're here to talk about trends today. And just to be clear, I'm going to do a tiny bit of myth busting up front. We're not talking about fads. We're not talking about short-lived, flash-in-the-pan, fancy, viral TikTok trends. We're talking about trends that actually are going to work in your businesses and grow and last for a little while and actually really resonate with consumers, which are, oh, I've gone quieter. Is that better? Can you all still hear me? Okay, good. And I've got some wonderful guests on the stage with me today who I'm going to ask to introduce themselves in a moment. But what I want to do today is really bring to life, it's actually not about acknowledging trends on the really early stages. It doesn't have to be that you've been magical and worked out what's going to be really popular in the next 2, 3, 5 years. But there are things, my experience in trends, that you can look out for that give you robust examples and ideas of things that will continue and will grow and will last on shelves and on menus for the next few years. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. What are those things that you can be looking out for that you can feel more confident in that a trend will grow and it will grow with your business? So without further ado, let me introduce you to the panel. And actually, I'll ask you to introduce yourselves and just tell us a tiny bit about your business. Elena, over to you.
Guys, am I sounding okay? I don't hear myself. Oh yeah,
There
good, lovely. So my name is Elena. I am a founder and director of London Fermentory, where we make beautiful, delicious and healthy fermented foods and drinks. We're based in London, in Bermondsey. It's going to be 4 years. We are 4 years old, and the trend really helped us to grow the business, grow brand awareness. I really don't know what we would do without the trend.
Perfect. And Freya? Oh,
Testing.
there we go.
I think we're on. Hi everyone, I'm Freya, the founder of Fixate Kombucha, and we've just launched a sister brand as well called Fibe Soda. So off the back of some trend research we did, set up the business about 5 years ago now after discovering kombucha, living in Shanghai, became obsessed with gut health and just thought, if I love this, maybe more people would back home. So yeah, 2 brands and we're still kicking.
Wonderful. And Thomas?
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Hello? There we go. Hello, everyone. So my name is Thomas. I'm the CEO of TLC Group Holdings. So we're a restaurant brand. We've got restaurants, some food trucks. We do some consultancy. We've had bought and sold concepts. And we also now, more recently, own part of Twist Cafe, which is a chimney cake concept, which we're expanding through Europe into the UK and then into the UAE and US next year.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me on stage today, everybody. And all, I think, very firmly in the world of trends, but not necessarily knowingly at the beginning. So, Eleanor, when you first came up with the idea, when you first started fermenting things, what made you think that it would work as a business?
So as I mentioned before, I didn't really think about the business. I didn't really think about anything. I have another company, sister company, which is food. It's a fresh vegetables. We used to supply restaurants. It's a fresh fruits and vegetables. So we've been looking at different ways to have zero waste in our company. So we tried different things, jams, sauces, all sorts of stuff. It was boring. So my husband came to me and said, "Why don't you ferment?" I said, well, I laughed. And I said, well, it was 2017. I laughed. Well, this is UK. I mean, there is no such a thing as fermented food in UK. Nobody gonna like it. I thought I really well know the customers' taste buds, as I did work in the fine food industry before for good 12 years. And yes, I laughed. I said, no, well, that's a stupid idea. But however, I did try to ferment, and we put our first ferments in a shop. in our retail shop. And to be honest with you, things picked up so very quickly. After 3 months, we had to buy a separate fridges for fermented food. And of course, my inherited knowledge of fermented food well expanded, because I realized the fermented food doesn't have to be boring as sauerkraut, just the cabbage. So it could be all sorts of vegetables, beautiful textures, colors, and I really dived into playing with them and finding, that is, the products come up really, really beautifully. People loved it. So in a year, I had to register a separate business called London Fermentary. It was 2018, and really that's how it started. And to be honest with you, it took me another 1.5 years to realize that it could be actually a business rather than just a play. I loved it. I loved it to play with my colors and vegetables and textures. And trend came later than that. As we know, trend for fermented food is really like very recent, maybe last 3 years, more so, and it's growing by year. And of course, we picked up that, okay, it could be, and people would come and ask for fermented food. They would come and they would share how they felt after consuming our products. So they would feel benefits, health benefits. They would come and share it. And of course, I mean, there is nothing better when you make something that is actually can help humans. So, and it's beautiful and delicious. So yeah.
All the good reasons, beautiful, delicious, and you loved it.
I loved it. I still really love my brand very much.
Well, I think that does make such a difference in any beginning of a company. Actually, if you're enjoying it and you're finding enthusiasm for it, then it kind of makes sense that other people might as well.
It's love, yes.
Did you find that, Freya, when you were traveling, you discovered kombucha? What was it? Was there anything particular about it that you thought, I think this could actually work in the UK?
I suppose when I was in Shanghai learning about gut health, that was sort of the first trend. And then I love fizzy drinks, so I sort of grew up probably having too much Diet Coke and you name it. Ooh. So when I discovered kombucha, it was because it gave me that fizzy drink moment, but then it was actually also very good for you. So it was kind of a eureka moment of, why don't I drink this back home? And I just started reading about it, realizing actually it was quite a big industry in the US, and also fermentation is nothing new. So we might think of them as recent trends, but they've existed for centuries and it's quite a natural part of human food culture, and each country has their own culture of fermentation. Yeah. So the more I read about it, the more I sort of thought, oh, this isn't actually anything new. And it's quite easy to do, and it's just practice and it's fun, and if you're a foodie then you probably love the challenge of it. So it was very much born from that similar passion of fermentation, and then making some really terrible kombucha to start with and then slowly just becoming so obsessed with it that actually the business spiraled out of that obsession. Rather than me thinking, oh, I'm going to set up a business, it was, I just can't think of doing anything else. I love kombucha so much, and that sort of informed everything that we've done next. So similar, I'd say, a big passion project to start with, and then coincides with the demand and the trends of the moment. But this real need for me came around to the element of gut health, and we're learning more and more around that now. So those were our origins.
It's so nice with both of you that there's such an underlying platform of real reason, like health, but we kind of know that consumers don't always just buy into health because it's healthy, otherwise we'd all eat quite a lot differently. But actually tying them in with the beauty, the colour, the variety, and soft drinks, favourites, really great flavours, actually bringing that to the forefront to really engage consumers. I love that. Thomas, similar question, but I guess retrospectively, if you look back on your business, Cake and Dough, can you see clearly now why it was such a success?
I think the thing was, as we spoke about this morning, like we were COVID hit, and we went from sort of catering for 30 to 40,000 people a day in contract catering sites around London, and ended up with 400 members of staff with nothing to do. And and some people wanted to leave, some people wanted to stay, and obviously people have a lot of commitments that we wanted to be able to help and support our staff with. And it was something where a lot of people were doing baking at home. They wanted sweet things to enjoy and wanted to be able to still indulge and have things delivered, which is where sort of the idea came from. And I mean, who doesn't love donuts? Do you know what I mean? It's a sugar ring donut, and it was just simple, just a basic dough, chocolate glaze, and then we used to get chocolate bars in bulk, and we put chocolate bars on the top of them. And it started for us on Instagram. Basically, we took some pictures to start our sort of platform of how we wanted to sell, and all the products we made, for the pictures that we took, sold out in the day that we'd made them, and we wasn't even planning to sell them. So it was about how we build on that of what we found as almost was a trend that people wanted to enjoy and that people were looking for. And then before we know it, I mean, we were doing 500-600 donuts a day and working 7 days a week. And yeah, it was a great journey. But looking at the trends of it, everybody loves sweet things. Everybody loves things that are simplistic, nostalgic, that they can relate to. And I mean, one of our biggest sellers was a party ring donut. So it was basically a pink chocolate strawberry glazed donut. And we stuck party rings on the top of it, some pink glitter, and that was it. Very, very simple. And we'd sell probably 100, 150 of them a day. So it was just looking at little bits, keeping it simple, what people like, what's available in the industry, and just what market trends were really sort of available at the time and what people wanted. And obviously with COVID, people couldn't go out, so we offered doorstep deliveries and things like that. So yeah, we capitalised on what we could.
Yeah, I love that. It's something we do a lot in innovation workshops, in looking at it either starts with a challenge or it starts with an opportunity. What's the thing that either someone gets excited, or you've got a problem to solve and you've got teams that you need to give jobs to and fulfill. And we've got slightly different ends of the table, quite healthy down this end, and we're going to more donuts down the other end. So it's been a nice balance on the panel today. For you, Elena, did you, now looking back, as you said, you didn't know going in, it was just a passion project, it was just an interest. Looking back, are there now elements of the brand that you feel just worked really well, and now you can kind of see why that was a success?
Oh, okay, yeah, you can hear me now. The elements of looking back, I really love my brand. Even now, I look at those kefir bottles with the flowers on it and the colors. I really love it. I can't have enough of them still, even though it's going to be 4 years.
Do you want to describe a brand? It is, if you don't know the London Fermentory, it is, have a quick Google of it now. It is so beautiful. Do you want to describe?
So yes, we basically make fermented vegetables and water kefir. It's a fermented drink, fermented beverage, similar to kombucha, but slightly different. And we make sauces as well. The colors, the glass jars pretty much expose the products, all products. They're not covered with a label. There's very nice, elegant label. We should have a picture really with the bubble at the bottom. So the colors exposed. They're very bright, natural, and the kefir bottles have botanical. It's a botanical. We use herbs for flavoring, and botanical represents the flowers on the bottle. We have really beautiful flowers on the bottle printed, and it's just so, in my opinion, it's a connection to nature, the plants, the herbs that we need now is sort of healing, has healing element in it. So it's very, very beautiful. The colors of the drink are very pale, sort of baby pink. We have lavender, which is slightly purple color, really beautiful. So the texture of, I'm just sort of talking about branding now. There was a lot of thought behind it. I had no pressure basically from rent or running a business. It was on the side as a byproduct of my other business. So I never had pressure of rent or go in and do my sales or pay bills or wages, overheads. I just could play with it, and the brand really represents that. It really naturally, it was just pure love and experiments. So I'm losing the direction.
That's
no?
absolutely fine. Freya, what with Fix8, were there particular aspects of the brand that have worked really well for you, and you know that's something that really resonates with consumers?
Yeah, I think when we were sort of initially doing the whole brand identity, I mean, I started the business after university, so I had no idea really what would work from a branding point of view. But when I looked at the kombucha category, everything was quite brown, medicinal, looked quite sort of purist, and I wanted this to be a really fun beverage. I mean, fermented food and drink, it is so fun and bubbly and lively, and I wanted the branding to really pull that through. So our branding identity was central to that, and we have almost the opposite: bold brand colors, lots of texture, lots of pattern. It was very loud actually when we first launched. We've kind of stripped it back a little bit now, but in the category, we really then stood out because we were bold and colourful in the kombucha market. And I think that was really important, looking at our competitors and thinking, how can we be different in a way that we can really own, because it's, feeds into the brand story and the kind of evolution of what we were trying to do, which was celebrate kombucha as this fun, exciting drink, not something that you needed to be worthy to drink or was unapproachable. That's the only way we can bring more people into the category if the branding speaks to sort of everyone who likes fizzy drinks, really. So yeah.
It wasn't a health angle. Actually, you were pushing the fun soft drink
Yeah,
space.
yeah. We always try and lead on sort of taste and brand, and the fact that we're good for you is kind of that secondary benefit, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a nice aftertaste, a nice surprise that actually it's doing good for you.
Yeah.
Same question to you, Thomas. Are there kind of key things about cakes and dough that felt like, yes, that's the thing that worked? That's the
Yeah, I think definitely for us in the early stages, I said we took off quite quickly on social media, which helped us save a lot of costs in what would have been sort of marketing and promotions and things like that. So we were very, very organic in that sense. And I think for us, the marketing was using our social media presence, using sort of daily posts, reels, and just really being like a very open and honest brand and business from the get-go. Like letting people sort of see through reels and different sort of like short videos and stuff about how we make the products, how we assemble the products, and following that stage all the way through. And again, on our branding, I mean, we were bright yellow and black. It was, you couldn't miss us. So if someone had a sort of cake box that was bright yellow, you knew exactly where it had come from, because it was the only place in sort of the area that you could get them. So I think for us, it was definitely a tool to help using social media to allow us to sort of save on those marketing costs, being a startup and trying to do something that was a little bit fun. And if you don't know it's going to work, you want to sort of test the water a little bit and give it a go.
Yeah.
I think the social media really helped us with that sort of element. And social media has always been a trend, especially for purchasing. I mean, now there's Instagram shops and TikTok shops and things like that, and it's just it's the availability is there for it, and obviously there's a demand in the market, and we thought if we could fill a little bit of that gap and capitalize on it, then it would help us in the long run, which I mean it did when we sold the company. So yeah.
So you've sold a very successful company now.
Yeah.
And you have lots of fingers and lots of pies.
Yes.
So if you had a new idea now, or
Yeah.
someone came to you with a great idea, what are the types of things that you would be looking out for in the marketplace or competitors, or what's happening with the customer, that would give you confidence to kind of pursue that idea?
I think for us, the biggest thing for us is looking at what's available currently in the market. If it's a product that people are sourcing, if it's something that people are going out to supermarkets to look for, or shops to look for, and also looking at sort of search engine trend reports as well. Like, they're one of the biggest tools. They're free to get. There's lots of different websites you can get them from, of where people actually, what people are looking for when they're online in terms of products or availability. So I think that's probably the main thing, is looking at the evaluation process of, is there a gap in the market for this, and how much of a space is there? Because obviously if you're investing thousands of pounds into building a new product or a new company or a new brand, obviously you don't want that investment to be wasted, especially at the minute where sort of people are trying to sort of save money and build something for themselves as well as a passive income.
Yeah, brilliant. And Freya, same question, but obviously how new is Fibe Soda?
Launched last month.
Very, very, very new. We have fresh, hot off the press.
Yeah.
So I guess in respect to Fibe Soda, what was it that, what were you looking out for that you thought, actually, yeah, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to put the time, I'm going to put the money into it? What gave you that kind of confidence to go after it?
Yeah, I suppose already with Fix8 Kombucha, I'm speaking to retail buyers. And often I will say to them, what do you think is lacking in the fixture, or what flavors work well for you? So actually speaking to buyers has been quite useful for me when it comes to innovation and thinking about flavors and actually what the consumer is demanding in the retailers. So that was a big consideration. I always also look at other markets, and in the US, there's been a huge rise in prebiotic soda. So I always knew there was maybe something we could innovate into or do separately. And I think, our whole mission is around gut health, so it had to also resonate with that. And as a kombucha consumer myself, I do see a sometimes barrier to the market because it's expensive, or it's not to everyone's taste because it can be a bit vinegary. And so I was thinking, how can we reach more people with a softer, less expensive product that also confers a gut health benefit? And that was sort of where Fibe Soda came from. So it's not fermented. It's got 5 grams of fiber per can, which is very good for our digestive health, and hence the name Fibe.
Very cool. And do you say you see this a lot in America, I'm guessing, kind of LA, New York type places.
Yeah.
Are you conscious of translating any of those kinds of trends or anything you see in other countries into the UK?
Yeah, and I think they will always manifest differently over here. I mean, you look at cold brew in America and it's absolutely huge, but it just hasn't translated over here quite in the same way yet, perhaps. So not everything will translate, but it's a good breeding ground of inspiration, I think. And, if you get a chance to go to LA, and even when I was building Fix8, I spent a month working for a pickle shop in Berkeley, California, just meeting different kombucha brewers and really getting underneath the skin of the market over there, because that was how I was going to learn and then reimagine it in my own unique way back home. So yeah, lots of research.
Yeah, amazing. And Eleanor, if you had a new idea, if you've come up with a brand new idea now, what are the type of first steps you would use to start on that process to get confident in a new project or a new business?
If I would start to look for a new product now to launch, it would be definitely wellness, sitting in a wellness, whatever wellness is so big, we can't ignore that. Wellness is it's a future. I believe that as a humans we're awakening, and this circle around we awaken even more, and product has to be good for us, like Freya said, with the benefits. I mean, we have products at the moment that beneficial for a gut health. Gut health is so huge. We can't. I call it luck, but the wellness. Our product, I guess, so innovative already, because we have sauerkraut that has quinoa in it, for example. Me thinking ahead about having the salad ready meal in a jar rather than anything else, to have fiber, pre-fermented fiber, plus what's the quinoa is fiber. Protein, yes, thank you. Fiber and protein together in a jar. So I don't think that people even think about this. It's still too early. So I'm always also looking for innovative, different countries, the products, and wellness. It's number one. I would look at wellness.
Perfect. And Freya, with new businesses, new ideas, what are the first steps that you take now? What are the things you're looking out for to make sure that becomes a successful business or business idea?
I think, for us, we do look at data as well, even if that's going to the British Library to see what's trending. And outside of soft drinks, for me, I can see the world of gut health, and fiber is the next big thing, and we are lacking so much fiber from our modern Western diets, really. I think we're all meant to get around 30 grams a day, and we, on a good day, can get about 19. And it's such a simple fix. So for us, putting fiber in a soft drink feels a bit strange. So we thought, how can we make it really accessible? So we've taken flavors that people know and love. So we've modeled our flavors off Sprite, Fanta, Vimto, Cola, and these are customer flavors they're already buying. So there really shouldn't be any compromise because they taste like the soft drinks you grew up with, but they have this additional health benefit. Yeah. So I think the really good innovation comes from being familiar enough to the consumer, but just that little bit extra different, which is sort of can spark a curiosity in them. But, you know, kombucha, when I started, was so alien to the consumer. And even now, some people still don't know what it is. And I live in a kombucha bubble where I think the world knows and loves kombucha. But there's still a massive education piece. So how can we move to meet the customer where they're at and then take them on the journey with us, rather than being this sort of, you know, kombucha drink 5 years ago that no one had heard of. So I think a lot of education, but trial and error and, you know, testing it with different retailers. When we launch, we immediately are doing sampling. So I'm standing in front of the customer, getting feedback. Do they want more carbonation, less carbonation? So better to learn and fail fast on that small level than launch into a big retailer and realize that, you know, you've got a claim on your pack which isn't valid or similar. So yeah, getting proof of concept first before we really go for it. But
great tips. And Thomas, less on the health and wellness, I'm guessing, but what are the things that you're looking out for in new businesses? What are your kind of first steps to assure that it's the right way to go?
I think our main focus is probably USP. So we look at unique selling points. We look at what people might enjoy if it's something that's very, very innovative, that's never sort of available in sort of bigger cities, and it's like a township of like rural India or something as a sweet product or as a savoury snack. We look at if people will actually enjoy it, number one, so we do like market testing and things like that, obviously, because there's things that I enjoy that I know some people would never ever even think about eating. But so I think we look at unique selling points. We look at are we going to stand out in the market first and foremost, because we don't want to start a new brand or a new business and realise that we're just mimicking someone else or we're following a trend that might not lead anywhere. Like, we want to be able to know that we're going to set ourselves up for success. In terms of what we're doing, from innovative design, from branding, our marketing, packaging, but then also again that unique selling point of what we can actually achieve in the market and what makes us different from a consumer perspective when they look at stuff on the shelf. If we've got 4 products that are all a similar range of products and ours is in the middle, what's going to make that consumer pick our product off the shelf?
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time and all your insight. That's been really fascinating. I don't know if we have any time for questions, in case anyone has any questions for our panelists. All good. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll be up here if anyone does have any questions, they want to come and say hi. But thank you so much and have a lovely day.